Hey guys, what's up? I'm Noah. This is Analog Resurgence, and today I'm just talking about film. So today, in the year of 2020, I'd like to talk to you guys about film, motion picture film, and also kind of what the deal with it is right now. There's this kind of general assumption that I see a lot that nothing today is being shot on film. And this kind of assumption comes from a lot of people my age and younger. But the idea that literally everything is shot digitally currently when you go to see a movie or watch a TV show or even skip an ad online, this perception is wrong because this stuff very much still exists. But I mean, a long, not that long time ago, everything was shot on film primarily because, I mean, that's just kind of where technology was at. So I mean, like, nobody had an Alexa Mini on the set of I Love Lucy. They had cameras like this. Those are film cameras. Those are cameras shooting film on TV shows in the 1950s. But admittedly, technology has changed since then. Significantly, I guess. But that doesn't mean that everybody has just immediately dropped film as a medium for creating new works. And especially within the past few years, there has been a bit of a surprising increase in the number of people out there who are choosing film as a medium to shoot on, whether you realize it or not. Now, this is not me saying that film is better than digital or that everything should just go back to being film, because I know there's differences and comparisons and everything. That's fine. I'm just talking about where film is right now. So when Kodak announced bankruptcy in 2012, it was admittedly a bad sign, but in 2015, a bunch of big Hollywood studios and directors all got together to ink a brand new deal to continue to shoot projects on film as long as Kodak continued to make the film. And these are people like Quentin Tarantino and Christopher Nolan and J.J. Abrams, and people who, it doesn't matter what your personal opinions on their work is.
The magic of movies is connected to 35mm.
It's just that they kind of all got together and said, you make film, we'll shoot film. And the most important thing about that is not just that it meant Kodak had people who were going to buy and use the film. It meant Kodak had people who were going to buy and use the film in massive quantities, like quantities that I can't even put into terms for you. Literally, it ensured that millions and millions and millions of feet of film would be used in the future. That's a lot of film. Now, I'm just talking about movie film. Motion picture film is kind of a different beast from photography film, because if we're talking about photography film, then there are all sorts of different companies and brands, names that go along with shooting like a roll of 35mm film in a camera. And besides Kodak and Fuji, we're also talking about people like Agfa, Ilford, Pirania, Japan Camera Hunter, Revolog, Lomography, Adox, Arista, Berger, Rolly, Kentner, Svema, and that's just to name a few off of a list that I clearly memorized. But in the world of motion picture film, it's just Kodak. Kodak is the only company in the world that is making this film to shoot in these cameras in order to make movies like this. They're the big one, and they're pretty much the only ones. For reference, Fuji discontinued all of their motion picture film stocks back in March of 2013, which just left Kodak, which again was right kind of in the midst of bankruptcy. So this stuff being used to shoot movies and TV shows and commercials lives or dies with Kodak's ability to keep using it. So last year in 2019, there were quite a number of big name movies that came out that were shot on this stuff, on Kodak manufactured motion picture film. Now we're talking about movies like The Irishman, Beach Bum, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which, I mean, Quentin Tarantino, what do you expect?
The magic of movies is connected to 35mm.
Star Wars Episode 9. Also, the previous episodes 7 and 8 were all shot on film as well. It was kind of like a big nostalgia thing as well, and J.J. Abrams and whatever, but that's all film. You got The Lighthouse. You got Detective Pikachu, which was shot on film. We've got Little Women, shot on film. We've got Ad Astra, shot on film. Uncut Gems, shot on film. Marriage Story, also shot on film. Haven't seen it. Haven't seen Marriage Story. Haven't seen Uncut Gems. Did see Ad Astra, but all of this stuff was shot on film, and all of these are like big name movies that came out last year. My point is just the fact that they were shot on film, and maybe understanding and realizing that some of this stuff that you saw that maybe you really like the look of was shot on motion picture film stock. And that's just to name a few. Like, those are some of the big blockbuster hits out there that maybe you guys saw. And of course, there were smaller things that were shot on film as well in different projects and music videos and commercials. You know what? Let's name a few. Here's a bunch of stuff from the past couple of years that was shot on 16mm and 35mm film. We got this McDonald's commercial for a Big Mac, film. A cologne commercial with Robert Patterson, film. A pants commercial, film. Adidas commercial with this guy named Stan.
It used to be Stan Smith the shoe, now I'm Super Stan.
Film. This weirdly silent black and white underwear commercial. Film. Another pants commercial with Justin Timberlake this time. Film. Puma commercial, Beats commercial, this Squarespace commercial with Keanu Reeves riding a motorcycle, this Netflix comedy special with Aziz Ansari, this Billie Eilish music video, this Harry Styles music video, this Justin Bieber music video, the 1975 music video, Kodaline music video, Katy Perry music video, Halsey music video, A$AP Rocky music video, This America music video, a bunch of Tyler the Creator videos, 10 seasons of The Walking Dead, Westworld, Mission Impossible Fallout, First Man, A Quiet Place, all film, all Kodak film. So my point is that this stuff is out there for a ton of people, for not just a generation that grew up with film, watching film, and shooting film, but for a future continued generation of people who are going to discover film as a viable, possible option for shooting creative visual projects. And I mean, digital is fine. Digital is something that we've all just taken for granted a lot of the time as well. But I think it's important that film continues to exist. There's people who will talk about the warmth or the quality and the visual difference, the amount of stuff that you can learn, the different workflow, the just how it makes a project different. And that's all great, because that means that there's a ton of different opinions on why you should shoot film for something or shoot digital for something else. But the fact that film currently exists is a fact, and it's something that you should keep in mind, especially if you have the ability to shoot it. I mean, give me some variety. I'm part of a generation of people who grew up shooting digital video that looked like this.
Here. I'm good. Oh my God!
And now we can shoot digital video that looks like this. Hey guys, what's up? I'm Noah. This is Analog Resurgence, all within only a few years. And you know what? There's lots of arguments out there, and I'm sure eventually lots of comments on videos that I'm making that you can just shoot digital video and just color grade it and throw some filters on it to make it look like film. So shoot film anyways, or don't if you don't want to. But you're maybe in the wrong place if you're completely against film. This year in January of 2020, 5 major studios renewed the Kodak deal that ensured the continued production of film for use in motion picture projects. And this deal is a much longer term deal than the initial one that was inked in 2015. We're talking the big ones. We're talking Disney, we're talking NBC Universal, Paramount, Sony, and Warner Brothers. And seeing as how pretty much Disney owns everything anyways, it means that at some point in the future, there's just gonna be stuff shot on film for a while. And Kodak also recently held their 4th annual Film Awards, which put the spotlight on filmmakers and creators who use film in their projects. And the recipients included Quentin Tarantino for the Kodak Lifetime Achievement Award.
The magic of movies is connected to 30.
Noah Baumbach for the Kodak Otero Award, Greta Gerwig for the Kodak Otero Award, Tyler the Creator for the Kodak Maverick Award. They also recognized Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Marriage Story, The Irishman, Little Women, The Lighthouse, Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, Ad Astra, Bait, Sorry We Missed You, Apollo 11, Uncut Gems, Loose, Give Me Liberty, Premature, Her Small, The Souvenir, Homecoming, a film by Beyonce, Succession, and The Painted Bird, as some of the major projects that came out last year that utilized motion picture film in their productions. And also, according to Steve Bellamy, the president of Kodak's Motion Picture and Film Division, last year they also sold more 65mm film stock than ever before, which is wild. 65mm is more commonly referred to as 70mm, and this is because it allows for 5mm of extra space on the film for the soundtrack down the side. But 70mm film is used for 70mm and IMAX 70mm and on productions like The Hateful Eight or in the upcoming James Bond film this year. So somebody out there is just shooting a lot of 70mm film, and That's pretty cool. So as we roll into a brand new decade, I would say don't worry about film. Film's gonna be fine. Worry about yourself. Film will most likely exist in some way as an option for people to continue to shoot projects on, whether it's motion picture or photography, for probably a very long time. And in the end, I know that it comes down a lot of the time to cost, and it comes down a lot of the time to available resources and all of that stuff. But also it can just come down to creative preference a lot of the time. And I think it's kind of important to not just kind of write off the idea of shooting stuff on film or using film in your projects just because it might seem archaic or outdated to you.
The magic of movies is connected to 35mm.
Because, I mean, if people can shoot stuff like this on film, then there's probably a lot of other stuff that people can shoot on film as well. So ultimately, shoot digital or shoot film or make your project on a flip book if you want to. It doesn't even really matter what the format is as long as you're passionate about the projects that you create. But also, don't get down on people who are using film or count people off who want to use film just because it's not a digital camera. So go buy some film if you want to shoot something on film. And if you really have no interest in like any of this stuff at all, then maybe just subscribe to my other YouTube channel, Digital Resurgence. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope that you kind of enjoyed and also kind of got something out of all of this. Whether it's the understanding that more things than maybe you thought are shot on film, or just that maybe you want to shoot film, or just that maybe you have no interest in my YouTube channel at all. But also, if there's more stuff that you want to see me talk about or rant about or showcase for shooting film specifically in the future, then you can comment down below on this video. There's also a Patreon for the Analog Resurgence YouTube channel that you can head over and check out and consider supporting the channel if you want to. This video is also not sponsored by Kodak, but I would definitely not say no to a little bit of free merch. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.